Welcome to the Sit, Walk, Work podcast, a show about paying attention. My name is Dominic and I'm your host, and today is a guided meditation. And what you can expect is that the practice will open up with a brief recap, followed by the actual practice itself. If you find today's episode valuable, please share with your friends and family, and feel free to leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. The show will begin after the following chimes. Today's practice was about playing with this idea of opposites, working with the totality of an experience. So we did that in a few different ways. We started with our inner resource, moved into scanning the body, and during the body scan, we invited in opportunities to play with the opposites. Then we brought our attention to the breath, and then we began to work specifically on the exhale breath, helping to kind of get the nervous system to soften a little bit and relax a little. It also gave us the opportunity to introduce that you can choose which side of an opposite to play with and to sit with in any moment. And so that's what we did with the breathing portion. Breath moved us into feelings, general feeling tones moved us into thoughts, and whatever thoughts were arising, and we kind of let those come up and used our inner resource to ground us as needed along the way. And then we moved into our general sense of well-being and joy. And touched on that before kind of stepping back into the space of awareness that holds all of our experiences in any given moment, and grounded into that before we kind of closed out our 45-minute practice. Just a couple things to note. This is a non-moving practice, so this practice is preferably taken seated or lying down. You're not going to be, like I said, you're not physically going to be moving for the next 45 minutes. So please make yourself comfortable so that you can kind of work through the practice for the next 45 minutes. Now, if you start off seated and feel you need to adjust along the way just for the interest of comfort, you can actually do that too. But yeah, I say take a minute or so to do that, and then I will get things going. It can help often to have a blanket nearby, just because as we start to relax and the nervous system starts to settle into what we're doing, the body temperature can kind of drop a little bit. So it's nice to have a blanket nearby. Okay. Now that we've got the particulars out of the way, I will go ahead and start us off into the practice. So as you begin to kind of arrive here and welcome into the practice, taking a comfortable position, as I alluded to previously. Something to consider with iRest if you've never done this modality before. This is one of the tenets of it that you'll often hear, is that this is a welcoming practice. And what that phrase means is that whatever kind of arises as we go through this process of this non-sleep deep rest, we are open to that happening. Where so many times we often will try to control the experience or make it something other than what it is. This is about learning and exploring and being curious and open to whatever is arising in the moment. So kind of think about that in terms of the attitude you take towards the practice as we begin the work today. Noticing now the position you've taken for practice. If there's any last minute adjustments you need to make, please by all means do that. Throughout practice, I'll be providing you with a series of prompts to kind of focus your attention on and to work with as a part of the practice, and some periods of silence to kind of do that work so that you can experience whatever is arising in this moment. And we're going to start today connecting with our inner resource. And an inner resource is described as a felt sense of well-being, safety, or peace that is always available to you, even in the most difficult of moments. It's an internal feeling of those things. One of the ways I like to connect to it is by feeling kind of my body and the way that it's grounded in this moment and the support that is held here. You can also bring to mind a memory, a person, place, or experience that it has those same attributes where you felt safe, at ease, peaceful, or supported. If you're recalling a memory, allow yourself to experience that fully, to notice what you see, what you hear, and what you feel in your body. The goal here is to, over time, start to learn to feel where in your body this, this sense of okayness, of peace and well-being, where you can kind of feel that in the body and making a connection to that feeling. Over time, allowing the breath to expand that, to let it settle into you. This is meant to act as an anchor throughout the practice, to be a point that you can always kind of reference at any time along the journey. This inner resource, this sense of well-being, connectedness. We'll continue moving the attention in and through the body, giving and creating the opportunity for us to explore what we're feeling in the body today and the way that's showing up for us. And the first part of sensing the body is just noticing the body as a whole. Scanning and feeling the sensations that are currently existing from head to toe, front and back, inside and out. There is no wrong sensation here to be had. It's just noticing what's present, what's most calling your attention, and then observing what it does as you focus on it. In this way, we don't have to change anything about it. We simply allow it to be exactly as it is in this moment. Allow your body to be the way that it is in this moment. Now we'll take this kind of wide perspective of the body and begin to scan each part of the body intentionally, with the goal of noticing any opposites that might be existing in that part of the body in that moment. So, looking for the sensations that are present and then any of their opposites that might be there. Starting with the head and the face, allow your attention to come to the crown of your head, into the face, and notice what sensations you might feel there. If your head's resting against the surface, you might feel the heaviness of the head, the weight of the head, contrasted by any lightness that might be present. You might notice if there's any tension in the face. If there's any softness present. Allowing yourself to be okay with whatever's arising, even if nothing is what's happening in this part of the body in this moment. Allowing the attention to move into the neck and into the shoulders. Noticing the sensations present, and then if they're opposites, might be there as well. The heaviness of the shoulders pulling down, maybe even a little tension in the neck, any softness that might be present. Notice what happens when you try to hold the opposites at the same time, both tension and softness. Letting your attention span down into the arms, all the way down to the hands. You might sense and feel your pulse or the texture of a blanket or the clothing that you're wearing. Feeling and then feeling into what's there and then noticing its opposite. Allowing your attention to move to the torso, front and back. In the front part of the torso, you might feel the breath moving here, in and out. On the back side of your torso, you might be connected to the surface that's holding you, if you're lying down or lying back. Or just notice how the shoulders feel in space if you're seated. Remaining connected to the dance of the opposites moving front to back. Reminded that the sensations that arise always tend to arise with their opposite, even if that's not in total focus in that moment. Working the attention down, we begin to notice sensations that we find in the pelvis and in the hips. Feeling the weight where it's distributed between the front and back of the hips and of the pelvis. Any tightness, any tension. Any spaciousness that might be there. And allowing the attention to move into the legs, the upper part of the legs, all the way down to the toes. Feel where the feet are connecting to the mat or to the floor, or the way they're being held if you're lying down. And that even as you're moving the attention through scanning and looking for what's present and its opposite, notice how that all of it's constantly shifting and changing. Even if you zoom out right now and scan your attention through the whole body once again, you might notice some of the same sensations present, but you also might notice that things have shifted. And letting your attention connect to that inner resource we started practice with. Notice if that is the same or has that shifted and changed. Just from scanning through the body in this moment. In the same way that you contrasted your opposites during your body scan, you can notice where you feel your inner resource. And then use that almost as an opposite to scan against whatever else is arising in this moment. Allowing your attention to begin to take notice of the natural rhythm and flow of your breath. Again, just looking in without making any initial changes. observing the cycle of breath and breathing. The inhale, the pause, and then the exhale, followed by another pause at the bottom. And in understanding that the breath has these four parts, I want you to begin to primarily focus on the exhale portion of your breathing cycle. The part of letting go. The inhale naturally begins on its own. But notice on that exhale where you feel it the most clearly in the body. The quality of the exhale. Speed and pace and length of the exhale. Remembering that whatever you notice is okay. Notice what happens to the body with each exhale breath. You may feel a bit of softening, a little bit of release of tension, or even the body settling ever so slightly. The exhales acting as a means for release of tension and stress. And exhaling, we make space. We make space to receive the breath anew. You might notice that at the bottom of the exhale, there is a momentary pause before the inhale breath starts again. And what happens if you stay in that momentary pause for a beat or two longer before starting your next inhale? That our opposites are at play. And then our attention can rest on either side of that coin at any time, or it can notice both simultaneously. And they do work together to create the whole of your experience. Having sat with the body and settled into the breath, invites you to notice the feeling state. Notice how your body feels after spending this time focused in these areas. Again, noticing the heaviness and lightness that might be present, or any tension that may still be there. Or even if you might be feeling a sense of relaxation. Or whatever else that may be present for you in this moment. There's a relationship between what you feel in the body, along with the breath. They kind of come together to generate this sense of feeling. In addition to what you're feeling, let your attention notice the quality of your mind and your thinking in this moment. Noticing the flow of thoughts kind of moving in and out in the same patterns and ways that your breath and sensations in your body move. Notice if they're reinforcing a feeling that is present. In this way, they help to create the felt sense in your body of what's arising from moment to moment. But even as you witness these arise, notice that there's a spacious awareness. It's not a part of anything that's coming up in this moment. And should you get lost in a thought and distracted from noticing the body and the breath and the way you're generally feeling in this moment, know that that's okay. And upon noticing, return your attention back to witnessing, back to observing. By allowing ourselves to sit in the space of witnessing and observing, we take a step back from simply just experiencing what's happening. If needed, feel back into the body to connect to your inner resource, to ground out any potentially challenging or difficult thoughts that might be arising in this moment. Building the strength of that anchor through repetition. It allows us to sit with and handle more of ourself that arises in practice. And connecting with your inner resource, your inner sense of well being and okayness. It also helps to open up the body and the mind in the moment to contentment and joy. And anchoring there, we begin to expand out and allow an opportunity for joy, happiness, peace, or gratitude to enter this moment. And if it's challenging or difficult to access a bit of that, we can use our memory as a pointer to guide us towards that feeling in our body. Very similar to what we did with our inner resource. Allowing yourself the opportunity to scan a memory or time in which you did feel joy or gratitude or happiness or peace, contentment. Using the memory to recall the way that felt in the body. Notice the way you receive that in the breath. And search to find that felt sense of it. eventually peeling off the memory and keeping the feeling in the body. Breathing with it, letting it fill you up and reminding you of the peace that is always available internally beneath the stress and the busyness of our day-to-day experience. Your ability to pay attention is your ability for you to be aware. As we moved kind of in a narrow way and focused in certain parts of the practice, and we've kind of opened things up a bit wider. I invite you to expand your awareness to include your entire experience. That's the body and all of the sensations you felt within the body, the natural flowing of your breathing, your breath, any thoughts or feelings and emotions present that are moving through. Any sounds you might be hearing, my voice, the ambient sounds in the room around you. And as you open the aperture a little bit wider, you might notice there's space for all of that to happen, to be present, to change, and to move. You, the awareness, you're the consistent piece. Your ability to be aware of all of this is the backdrop in which it all unfolds. Unchanging and spacious and capable of holding all parts of your experience. The breath comes and goes, the thoughts come and go, the stress comes and goes. The awareness, you remain constant and steady. In this way, you allow yourself to simply be. To be with this moment and all that it accompanies it. Begin to notice how you feel in this moment. Notice if you've had any shifts or changes about your breath, your body, your mind. You'd like reconnect to your inner resource one final time, touching into that sense of well-being, safety, and peace. Remembering that the inner resource, your spacious awareness, they're always available to you in any moment, no matter what's happening. They just require your attention to step back and notice them. Begin to allow your breath to be a little fuller, a little deeper. You might begin to gently wiggle the toes and the fingers a little. As we start to close out practice, take your time in exiting the practice. You've allowed yourself to slow down, let yourself ease back into the moment. Taking any part of the practice that makes sense for you with you.
That's the beauty of it.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. I invite you to check out my Substack, where we are building a community of like-minded individuals to discuss all topics related to the idea of paying attention. I hope to see you there. But until then, with metta may you be well.